Hi guys, I hope your week's going well. I'm Mark Walker and today I'll be reviewing Grip. Thanks to the developer for the review copy. Grip is quite literally the perfect title for a game based on the infamously slip-slidey game Rollcage. It's a gravity-defying racer that aims to plaster you to your seat with insane amounts of speed, but really, it's not that fast, is it? It's just oh man, let's find out! There are a variety of vehicles which are unlocked by winning races, obviously. Deck them out in whatever grotesque assortment of colours floats your boat and head to the career mode to get your first taste of why the game is described as a gravity-defying racer. As you sit at the start line timing your R trigger just as the countdown reaches 1, getting you a nice touch of boost, and off you launch, quite literally. The cars are shaped as such to allow them to drive either the right way up or upside down. Drive up a wall while holding some boost or using a power up and feel your face melt as you scream up a wall. With enough speed you'll stick like glue to any surface, causing the camera to flip and your new perspective right with it. As you leave a surface and sail through the air, you will oftentimes need to correct yourself mid-air. The game allows for aerial control, but you must release all other buttons to do this. Judge it wrong and you'll lose a ton of momentum at best, and at worst, well, this'll happen. Now, you can also use boost while in the air as a jet propeller, but to be honest, the action is so damn fast, you'll want to concentrate on just staying in one piece until you've channeled your inner Anakin. As you progress through the stages, you unlock several game modes. The usual array you would expect, such as racing to win, racing to get the most damage, and trying to win over a set number of laps. You'll also find a hectic Mario Kart style battle mode. The issue I had with these earlier on was just how badly the AI drove. I don't mind them just following a set path or whatever and then reacting, but when they sit there doing circles like an old granny trying to do a U-turn, it just seems a little out of place. When playing against other players online, this would or should be much more fun. More on that in a moment. Now, as you blast around the courses, you'll be delighted to hear that there are multiple routes and some require serious skill to navigate. To help you do this, there's a handbrake which becomes essential and allows you to power slide around the corners. You'll need to feather the throttle as well. At other times, just going flat out and praying also works. Or not. Other than green boost pads that put a touch of pep in your tank, there are several special power-ups to collect, such as a speed boost that has a very cool sound effect, rockets of different flavours, and a nice minigun. There are other power-ups which unlock as you progress through the game, so there is a reason to continue playing and making progress. If you do go off track, it's hugely punishing, resetting you slowly. If you need to, you can hold a button to respawn yourself. Each tier of the career is split into several tournaments, in which you must reach a certain level before you can progress to the next. At the end of some, you have to win a grudge match before you can progress. Although the career mode is okay, I would have liked some more story to overlay the experience. Something, anything to make me feel like there was a need to race. As it is, you finish one and there are no trophies, no fanfare, or any real feeling of progression. You just move up onto the next tier. I'm sorry to say that in that sense, it does feel a little hollow. The game informs you new upgrades have been unlocked, but this amounts to skins or a new unlocked vehicle. I would have liked a more RPG approach to this, perhaps improving your armor and weaponry capabilities by spending an earned currency of some sort. Thankfully, for those just wanting a skin of the teeth, blisteringly fast racing game with local and online multiplayer modes, Grip has your back, and there were several times I was just blasting along with a huge grin on my face. There are a good number of tracks with reverse versions and day and night. Rarely does this actually make any difference on most games, but when you're screaming along at several hundred miles an hour, about 2 feet off the ground, yeah, they definitely do feel different. You can play co-op on a single console with split screen, but also there's online multiplayer. Now unfortunately at the time of writing I couldn't get an online game. Hopefully that's just because, well, no one else actually had the game, but I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days. Gameplay's fun but can be repetitive, and they miss some tricks with progression. It scores 15 out of 20. Controls are tight and they score 18 out of 20. This is gonna be fun. Graphically the Switch version is understandably the worst on any system. This is not meant as a huge negative, it's simply a fact. Now forget subsurface scattering and heavy anti-aliasing. When I first received the game, the performance was, quite frankly, horrible. But, and this is where things get much more rosy, the awesome guys have been working their butts off on performance, and a performance patch arrived early this week. What a difference a day makes, and wow, it is a huge difference. The game runs decently now for the most part. There are still a few judders and kinks, and we are way off a solid 60 frames a second. In fact, we're sometimes struggling to hold 30, but it is there most of the time. What I would say is that this developer, just like we've seen with Panic Button, aren't giving up on this one. You saw how Panic Button recently completely improved Wolfenstein 2's performance. I fully expect more performance and visual patches as we go, and this certainly deserves credit for that. Now, I turned the gamma down a touch and the contrast up, and the game looked worlds better than the washed out default settings. Visually though, it has suffered for its optimizations. The level of detail on textures is short, and the textures themselves can look muddy and washed out. All that said, the game can look damn lovely in motion. And at the end of the day, it's a racer. You shan't be sat inspecting textures, you'll be desperately trying to reattach your retinas. Audio is banging in the best sense, it's upbeat, and although a tad generic, when it hits the mark it really adds to the sense of speed. Cranked up with a decent set of headphones, it was a blast. Engine sounds and explosions are all okay and serve to add rather than detract from the experience. It's the boost sound I really enjoyed. Overall graphics score 13 out of 20 and sound 15 out of 20. Grip retails at £34.99 or $39.99, so it represents a premium price point, but can be had for much less physically, anywhere from 10 to 25% cheaper than the digital download. If you're a fan of classic racers like Wipeout or the aforementioned Rollcage, this is pretty much going to be a purchase. There is certainly loads of racing fun to be had. That price is a touch high for me. I would have said $24.99 in the UK or maybe $29.99 in the US. Would have been spot on, but as I say, you can find these prices already if you look hard enough. There's tons of tracks and vehicles, and online multiplayer only adds to the value. Value scores 14 out of 20. Now I for one am very happy to finally have a Rollcage experience on a modern console. Having met the developer who himself worked on the team that brought us that game, I can safely say that any fans of the series won't be disappointed. This is a fun racer with minor performance hiccups that should be fully patched out soon. It scores 75%. Thanks to the developer for the review copy. Remember, we give away a free Switch game each month to the subscriber most active on the channel. As always, for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!